Okay, so I want to go ahead and jump onto a topic right now that I really think is worth discussing, especially when it comes down to what we could be looking at for Tesla's next strategy. Now, yes, this is a VW sort of concept electric vehicle, but when I saw this, it really kind of got me thinking, especially about the next gen of electric cars. And I gotta say right now, we're still looking at that $25,000 Tesla possibly coming into existence, right? The $25,000 Tesla, possibly a hot hatchback, which, I guess we could kind of categorize this concept vehicle from VW in a similar sort of arena. But, again, it is a slightly different style. But $25,000 has been an oft discussed price really since Battery Day. Okay. And a lot of people are constantly left wondering, well, can the price really reach that point? Can we really see Tesla and other car manufacturers making EVs that are under the $30,000 price point? Now, keep in mind, again, incentives do kind of have to be considered, but if we could see price points that low without incentives, I think that would be an even better thing. So it does kind of make you think, and it kind of has a lot of people speculating, is this something we could actually see? Is that price realistic? Right now, I think we can all answer that pretty much right away. And the answer is not really, right? That's why the $25,000 Tesla was brought up as a sort of futuristic concept, right? For the future of the company, that is something they were working toward as a goal, but it wasn't something that was going to be immediately, completed. It obviously was going to take some time. But now, we have seen something, especially over the past couple of years, that has been exemplified by the Model 3 and the Model Y. And that's, the concept of EVs not becoming less expensive as a sort of gradient, right? I don't think it's realistic for us to expect the same models now to magically become less expensive over time. And a big reason for that is sort of market acceptance and margins, right? I don't think it would make sense for Tesla to suddenly, start selling the Model S Plaid for like $40,000. Even with all of the materials being available, people are willing to pay the higher price right now, so that's what we're looking at for a realistic price outlook. Again, when was the last time we saw Apple get significantly better at making the iPhone and majorly lowering the price? It really hasn't happened. I suppose you could say the technology's gotten better for the price that you're paying. And, I guess that is something that could be argued for EVs as well. But it's just not that realistic. And that brings us to the next idea of the $25,000 Tesla again, which, by the way, we're hearing that Gigafactory Berlin is expanding. Seems like there could be some land clearing actually going on there for, I think, a lot of auxiliary production, whether that's batteries, whether that's new cars. We don't necessarily know. But, that would be a big market for the $25,000 Tesla, especially with a hot hatch model. It's something we have kind of talked about before. Not a ton, but it is something that, again, we do kind of have to keep an eye on. We've got to kind of say, okay, is Tesla working on this factory for a reason? Are they planning something here? And how exactly will this tie everything together? Well, think about new vehicles. I think, honestly, if we're going to see new vehicles introduced that are way less expensive in the EV category, I want to say first and foremost, I think Tesla has the largest opportunity to make that difference. Now, will they capitalize on that? Only time will tell. I would argue they already have with the Model 3 and Model Y, more so than other companies have, right? We've seen again and again, oh, well, this company's releasing an EV. Mercedes is working on an EV, so on and so forth. And then they release it and it costs like $60,000. Yeah, it's not exactly a super competitive price point. So, it's something that will be ushered forth by new models. And here's my honest opinion. I think that $25,000 model, even if it ends up costing 30 grand or something like that, it could result in a cascade of less expensive vehicles because it kind of starts a bit of a race, right? Tesla makes a cheap electric vehicle, 25 grand, 30 grand. Competition wants to do the same thing. We saw the same exact thing with the Model 3, Model Y. Those vehicles were the major impetus for the competition actually caring because they had to be, okay? They had to be involved. They had to be aware. They had to care. And, well, that's obviously been a huge consideration already. It's resulted in a lot of electric vehicles that are priced similarly to the Model 3 and Model Y. VW, okay? Toyota has kind of tried, all right, a little bit. Hyundai, Kia, even. We've seen a lot of companies start to emerge in that sort of arena and have cars that are competitive with the Model 3, Model Y. And then we've seen that even though those cars exist, they can't really hold a candle the Model 3, Model Y. Why is that? Well, it's because those vehicles made it to market first, and they are icons of their price categories and classes, okay? If you think electric crossover, most people are gonna think Tesla. If you think cheap electric sedan, most people are gonna think Tesla with the Model 3, right? And they're probably going to overlook a lot of the other models. Even if Tesla's offering is a little bit more expensive, a little bit, right? Maybe $2,000 or so, it is still something that people are going to, I think, largely overlook because, again, they've got such a better market presence. Market presence matters to a huge extent. It's why I've kind of always laughed when I've seen a company work on an electric crossover, and I'm like, well, not really good enough to dethrone the Model Y, so we're not going to worry about it too much. If Tesla releases a $25,000 car, I think the competition is going to really have to do the same thing. I think they're going to strive for that. And that opens the door for a $20,000 car. It opens the door for a $15,000 car because, again, remember, the complexity here is actually a lot more simple than ICE cars. Manufacturing can be a lot more straightforward, a lot faster, a lot more efficient. Parts, materials right now, yeah, they're tough. There's been a big scarcity of battery materials for, a while. It's been an issue. But at the same time, when battery materials are figured out and when companies realize that, hey, batteries can be a lot more simple than we've been thinking, well, that's when you see a difference. That's when you see a major cascade, right? And I think that's going to be the tipping point for a lot of these vehicles. Competition's going to have to step up, and that's when we're going to see 15 grand, 10 grand. I don't see the price going lower than like 10 grand because I don't really think that would make sense. But then we get into the concept of self-driving and additive features, and that's where a lot of extra revenue could be derived from, okay? If Tesla sells even cars that they don't make a huge profit margin on, that's where the software can come in and I think become another billion dollar innovation for Tesla as a company. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Seriously, just a quick update there. I want to go ahead and kind of make something that I've been thinking about for a while. Have a great one and adios.